Hello, welcome to today's post. We are moving along and it's going to get a little romantic, I would say. What do you think? Okay, let's move on, ladies. Matt was so much on my mind that I couldn't concentrate on saving my marriage anymore. Not to mention David was back to being his old self again. Truthfully, I knew I didn't want to save my marriage, but I didn't want to hurt David. And I felt it's the right thing to do to try and do whatever I could to save it. That's what people do, right? You do everything. Until an old friend came to town. I hadn't seen her in ages, and it felt so good to be the happy-go-lucky Erin again. We laughed and decided to call up all our old friends from grade 8. Deb suggested we call Tony and Ian. She had dated Ian for a while, and I had dated Tony back in grade 8, but we had ended up just being good friends in the end. The guys were so happy and surprised to hear from us. Oh, it was amazing. We reminisced for hours, and then they said, "Hey, why don't you guys come over for dinner tomorrow? We'll cook." What? Guys who actually cook? Fun! It felt so good to be around wonderful men. They sent us on an Easter egg hunt, served us an incredible meal, and then brought out their guitars. We sat in the living room and we sang for hours. I was in heaven. I felt alive. I felt happiness again. And singing, music, it's something that feeds my soul. For a few hours, I felt who Erin really was, who Erin really wanted to be. At midnight, David called and demanded I come home. He shouted how irresponsible I was, etc. And I just stood there shaking my head. Little did he know, I felt perfect. I admit, I felt attracted to Tony and his talent that night, and if I'm correct, he felt that way too. We got home quite late, Deb and I had to drive her to the airport, so I decided to take a sick day from school. I was so confused. I felt like my life was just falling apart, yet I felt what life could be. My whole body felt physically and emotionally drained. At noon, Matt called. I was in shock. He said he missed me. The whole day I prayed to God for answers. All I kept saying, all I kept hearing was, "You know what you have to do. You don't want to, but you know. You know what you have to do. You don't want to, but you know." At 5 p.m., David came home. I was sitting on the sofa, and he came and knelt down beside me and asked, "Do you want a divorce?" Yes. For the first time, I felt my whole body say yes and mean it. It was over. He freaked out a bit, calling my dad just to come pick me up. My dad came, and at the last minute, while seeing the pain on David's face, I almost said, "Oh, just forget it. But I knew what needed to be done, so I stayed strong. Not just because I had feelings for Matt, because my marriage had been unfulfilling for years, and I knew it. I knew it wasn't going to get better. And what I needed and desired, David could never naturally give it to me. The next day, I went to school, and Matt asked me if I was okay because I looked a little bit down. I told him I moved out last night for good. Later that afternoon, he walked past my classroom and beckoned me to the door. He handed me a note. It said, "Drink after work." And that's where I'm going to end today. I know. Oh, it was a very exciting time in my life. It was a time when I could see a glimpse of what life could be like. So there are men who actually naturally like to cook. So there are men who actually like romance, who like to do things that that David would say are, I don't know, not him. They weren't him. He would never feel comfortable dancing unless he had 20,000 drinks within himself. I adore dancing, but I don't want to dance with a drunk person. I want a confident guy. I want a guy who can sit on the sofa and play songs while I sing. One of my most favorite things in life to do, sing. I want someone to be romantic and hand me little notes and say, "Drinks after work." I never went for drinks after work with David. And if we ever tried to do a coffee, because we did try that as one of the things to try and make our lives work, we didn't have anything to talk about. So, what's my commentary? Not as much as yesterday today, because I think that you can see when I started to feel alive again, that was key for me to know what I really desired. And I had tried and I had got counseling, but when you feel something, that's the divine speaking to you. And it was time. It was time to move on. And no, it was heart-wrenching. I don't like to hurt people. And you probably would say, didn't you hate Darren? No, I never hated David. Sometimes I would say it because he was being so irrational, but I loved his soul and I didn't want to hurt him. And when I heard him say things like, "How can you do this to me? I dreamt of having children with you. Our lives were planned out. We wanted to do this and that." And to think that I'm breaking someone's world, I was devastated by it. The one thing that kept me going was, thank God, Matt and Tony. Those two men were actually the things that kept pulling me out, or I swear to you, I never would have left. And so these two gentlemen were like little angels in my life who were helping me get out of a situation that would have taken me a lot longer. So they were gifts. So I guess I ask you now, what messages, who's been sent into your life to gift you a message? Do you feel something in your body? I'm talking, don't get in your head, because that was like going wild for me. What do you feel? God speaks through feelings, and you're connected to that. And so the feelings are truth. There we go. We'll see you next time. It only keeps getting better. It's so good. There's still some ugly in there too, but that'll come. Okay, see you next time. See you tomorrow. Bye.